Proudly presents What's the Topic? The following audio may contain language that isn't suitable for a younger audience. The opinions expressed are solely those of the speakers themselves and may contain spoilers in the genre discussed. Grown Geeks makes no claim to ownership of any of the various properties discussed. Listener discretion is strongly advised. For today's What's the Topic? We have Mob Movie Monday.
Yeah, hey, and I'm not giving any explanation about it. It's just what it is. This is my list, not explaining shit.
Your list sounds like your small autobiography, your small journal, small encyclopedia. He's got 17 titles, folks. So when Tony was excited for mob movies, I thought he was sort of excited. No, Tony Three Fingers is ridiculously hyped for
First of
this
all,
show.
movies. That's all they need to say.
Yeah, you are a movie buff in every sense of the word. I only put up 3 movies in my top 3 for mob movies because they were the definitive ones that just
And
cannot be argued.
I will only put up my best 3.
Yeah, which is a nightmare for you because you have 17. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 honorable mentions, but at the same time, none of them were definitive enough where I was like, you know what, these deserve a spot in the top 3.
I got 14 movies ranked and 3 that I have to watch.
Would you like to at least list the ones that you need to watch for the folks at home before we get going so they don't sit here waiting for their stuff to be shown?
All right, so for the 3 that I need to watch that I have not watched, these are pretty much recommendations from my friends. And that's where I get most of my movie ideas to watch from my friends. City of God, I have no idea what that's about.
It's pretty
One
good.
of my boys was like, hey man, watch it. You'll like it. Sold. Gamora.
Don't know.
No idea.
About it.
Gonna watch it. And Layer Cake. I have no idea. 3 different friends, all who I hold their movie knowledge pretty high in my book. They all said watch it. So
it's on your to-do list.
I showed them my list. It started a couple arguments. Number 1 and 2 did not start any arguments, but 3 through 14 did. And we argued for I think, in fact, we're still arguing because they keep sending text messages. They're like, stop. I'm like, I don't care no more.
Because my first 2 are unequivocally undeniable. My third one, you can argue, and I'll just be like, it's a personal opinion list. This is what it is.
Fuck your opinion.
Yeah, that's a lot of people have the wrong opinions. So I mean, that just is what it is. Before we get going, we got Tony Three Fingers at the top. Of course, all things movie. I mean, really, what do you expect, folks? What did you expect?
You know that was a gangster's real name, though.
Yeah, and I got Don Recordione at the bottom because all we'd be doing is recording all the live long day. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, hit that little notification bell so you get notified every time we drop more pipe and hop content. We got plenty of things coming your way. Be sure not to miss anything. And check out the audio-only content on anchor.fm/grownygeeks where we'll put it to your favorite audio-only streaming service where you can just listen to us while you go about your workday, while you're hanging out at the gym, hanging out with friends. Whatever the case you may be doing, you can have us playing in the background. Educate yourself a little bit on some of the topics that you're a little bit more unfamiliar with because we got plenty of experts to share their opinion with you and show you all that exciting good stuff that we love. I'm not saying that out loud. Damn it, Tony. You're not going to be doing that today. Before we get into it, how are you doing today?
It's an actual mob boss name, though. His name is Johnny Sausage Barbado. His name is Johnny Sausage.
How are you doing today?
Anthony Tony Sausage. I'm good. He was a capo. And a Genevieve, yeah.
I'm doing fine as always, just trying to reel in all the fun that we end up having every time 2 of us record because it's just what we do. There's a lot of shenanigans involved, and if you've watched any of our Gag on These Balls, which is the premiere page for the Grown Geeks Network, because we have the most videos by night and day, but, you know, be sure to check those out. Top 5s are pretty damn solid as well. I'm not even going to lie about that.
That's right. That's where I drop my knowledge.
Got it. Both those shows are you're on. Weird. It's like you know a thing or two because you've seen a thing or
I
two.
I know a little bit about a lot of little things, a lot of things about a lot of things.
Wow. Before we get going, how do you want to get this going? Do you want to list your number three? I list my number three. How do you want
Why
today
don't
to
you
play
just
it?
give me your three so I can laugh at you?
My three, so you can laugh at me.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to work. It worked
Mm,
in the past.
mm, this is the attitude that we're going with into mob movies. Like someone's gonna be putting out hits, so watch yourself.
I mean, I do have weapons around me. Keep playing with me.
You always got weapons around you. It's kind of what you do.
Oh, I didn't show you my new ones.
Really, you got that's more stuff for off air. But
No, it's not.
for my third movie came out in 1990. You got a kunai. What are you doing with one of those bad boys?
Got a whole bunch of them.
Someone breaks into your house. Naruto.
Too much anime. I can't
Anyway,
tell you.
movie came out in 1990. It was a book originally about James Conroy,
That's
Henry
my number two.
Hill, and Tommy DeVito.
That's my
Goodfellas.
number. That's my number two.
Dropped the mention of ever since I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Yep.
And it starred Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, and I think Joe Pesci's probably premier role for his like career. This will be his defining moment. Casino was a close mention for him, but this is his premiere movie, and it's Goodfellas. 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, 90 on Metacritic. I got 8.7 on the IMDb. I think everyone was just a little sensitive because of how dark this movie did get at certain points in time, but it was a great thrill ride all the way through.
I mean, you can't help but get dark. That's what mobsters were.
Yeah, a lot of people get sensitive though about Goodfellas as opposed to the other two movies on my list and the level of what is shown versus what's strongly implied. So there's just kind of that gray area with there. So Goodfellas at number 3.
Okay.
And then we'll go to number 2, and
You
it's
better not say this movie. I'm gonna bust you in your jawbone.
oh, it's gonna be a good one.
This is number one. But you better not take that number one
At
away.
1972, one of my favorite books of all time, from Mario Puzo, we have The Godfather, directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Not in my top three.
Starred Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, Richard S. Castellano. Just The Godfather. Do I need to say more? I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
It pretty much
Define the
even
mob
though-
movie genre.
Yeah, even though mob movies were already out, this was probably the one that everybody flocked to.
Because, 97% Rotten Tomatoes. It got a perfect score on Metacritic, 100. 9.2 on the IMDb. The book was so well written from Mario Puzo that he had actual mobsters kidnap him, ask him how he got these sources of information and how he knew how the inner families worked, just for him to come out and say, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything. This was just on top of my head what I thought would make sense, and it just happened to be a little too on the nose for certain mob families to like. So The Godfather, the part 1, number 2 on the list. And we're not going to go too much further away from that to go for number 1.
So yeah, we pretty much had
Godfather
had the
part
same
2
idea.
came out in 1974. Best mob movie all time. Period. End of
It's not
discussion.
even up for debate. It's
Al
not even up for
Pacino,
debate.
Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, a young Robert De Niro. Which also, if you say mob and you say Robert De Niro, I'm probably watching it. He's very, very good in this genre.
He's got a couple on my list that.
Yeah. He got a 96% Rotten Tomatoes, 90% Metacritic, and a 9 out of 10 on the IMDb, so it's ranked a little bit lower than the original because the part 2 ran out of source material about halfway through the movie, and they just kind of threw together a plot at the very end with Puzo's help, and they didn't ask Puzo's help for part 3, which is why that was an abomination and a train wreck.
We don't mention 3
because it was bad.
That's why it can't be considered the greatest trilogy of all time.
No, if it had a solid part 3, it would beat Lord of the Rings in my mind. Lord of the Rings is probably the most cohesive trilogy. But that's another topic we'll get into on another day.
You know what? We need to argue that because I know some that might be better than Lord of the Rings trilogy.
You can try, but you shall not pass. Yep, Godfather Part 2, number 1. Godfather the original at 2. Goodfellas at number 3. I'll get into honorable mentions once you have completed
That is
your list.
actually a solid top 3, and it doesn't differ from mine too much.
I fuck with the
3
mob
does.
movie genre almost
3
exclusively.
does just because number 3 for me is my personal favorite. So I'm gonna start from top to bottom since we both agree on Godfather Part 2. By far is, and it's not even close. Not even
Someone else
close.
comes out with anything else on that list, their mob movie opinion invalid.
It does not matter. It's like when IGN came up and said had their top 25 comic book movies, and fucking Watchmen wasn't even on the list. It invalidated that entire list.
Because Watchmen is easily a top 5 comic book
Shit,
movie.
top 3,
period.
easily top 3. So
if
no,
you're talking comic accurate, it's probably number 1.
Yeah. So yeah. So Godfather Part 2. Now for my number 2, I actually had Goodfellas for my number 2. I like Goodfellas better than I did the original Godfather. It's just the story for me flowed a little bit better. But that's just me. Now my number 3 is arguably my favorite mob movie of all time, but it wasn't better than Godfather 2 or Goodfellas. But it's one that if it's on TV, I'm watching it. Not changing the channel. And that's Scarface. The 1983 version, not the 1932 version. Let's get that straight. Because the 1983 version is a remake. It's not original. Scarface. Say hello to my little friend, hyped up on them drugs. I'm watching that all day long. Shower scene with the chainsaw. I'm watching it all day long.
I didn't fuck with Scarface like that.
I feel bad for you. I'm sorry.
It is one of Pacino's best performances, but I'm still just like,
it is one of his greatest performances because not only did he make Tony Montana believable, you thought it was just, yeah, that's him. That's Tony. That's Tony all day long. And it showed the inner working. Yeah, come on now. It showed the inner workings of the mob boss who starts to get more and more paranoid, which is what happened to him. He kept getting paranoid. He thought all his people was against him, and eventually, it happened.
Yeah, because they was
like,
coked out
you start
his
killing,
mind 90% of the time.
You killing your people. They're not gonna want to work for you if you still killing them. That's not how that works.
No, most people aren't really a fan of that. Surprisingly, I mean, like you kill your workers, they don't want to work for you. Oh,
right. But still, he one of the greatest scenes ever when he's defending his house with a fucking mound of cocaine and machine guns and just taking all these shots, and eventually takes the shotgun to the spine. Death. I still argue with my people he was dead before he hit the water. Other people was like, nah, he died when he hit the water. I was like, nah, that blew his spine apart. He was gone.
There was nothing left. There was no nerve endings. There was nothing firing. He was done. I agree with you. He was dead.
So
it's kind of like how everyone was like, which bullet killed Sonny in the original Godfather? I'm like, do you really want to nitpick that? The dude looked like Swiss cheese at the end of it.
Yeah, bullet number 3 hit his artery. How about that? Let's just.
It's like you just have to guess and be like, he dead. Does it matter?
That one. Yeah, no. When they do the autopsy, they're not going to determine if you get hit 50 times. They're going to say you died by gunfire.
Yeah, he got lit up by like 8 Tommy guns.
So yeah,
he's dead somehow, some way. I mean, I think the only iconic mobster who just didn't die a tragic death was, Don Corleone, the original, Don Vito.
Yeah.
Because he just died of a heart attack.
Yeah. You might be right.
Because they never actually offed, his son Michael Corleone in The Godfather. He just, got old and then they were done with it because, part 3 was just that bad. They were saying they were going to bring back part 4.
Don't mention part 3.
Yeah, it was one of the worst movies I'd ever seen, and the plot was just that movie would be one of the few movies that I just absolutely hate with a burning passion. Probably
that movie is so bad it could be considered a Nicolas Cage movie.
I feel like Denisha just entered the chat somewhere and was just like, I agree with that.
Yes. which we still have to do the best worst Nicolas Cage movies ever. We still have to do that. I haven't forgotten.
I don't think most people have forgotten. Just most people are not Don Ricordeoning. So I mean, some stuff's happening there. But right, as far as you had everything listed down from 4 through, you said 14.
Yes.
I want to hear
All right.
your list from there down.
All right. So my number 4 is Godfather.
Okay, yeah, the original.
And again, the only reason it's at 4 is because Scarface is my favorite movie. But like I said, Scarface is not better than Goodfellas or Godfather 2, in my opinion. I think it's a little bit better than Godfather, not by much, but since it's my personal, it automatically gets top 3.
It's a personal list.
It's mine. So the number 5, 1987 was The Untouchables.
Good movie.
Great movie. Great movie. Stop it. Number 6, 92, Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 7, another personal favorite of mine. I just don't think it stacks up to the ones in front of it, but it's something I can watch. Carlito's Way came out in 93. Um, a more recent one, 2006 was The Departed.
I almost always forget that it is a mob movie just because
It
of
is a
how
mob movie.
horribly it plays out.
It's like everybody gets fucked up.
Like nobody survives this movie.
Nobody survives this movie.
And if you count the number of F-bombs, you're just like, they
and let me
paid
tell you,
so much money for this movie just to get through all that censorship.
It's like with my kids, I'm always trying to find that movie where everybody dies. Like whenever we watch a movie, like me and my oldest, we do the horror. So I have a better chance of saying, hey, everybody dies in the movie. But they were like, they'll sit down and they know they can't ask questions. Like, Dad, who dies? I was like, everybody dies. They're like, oh, here he goes again. And it's been a couple movies where everybody has died. And my rule is if it's 8 to 9/10 of the stars in the movie, that's considered everybody. If you got your little side character that survived, that don't count because they weren't main to the plot. But in The Departed, everybody
dies.
It was like, God damn.
Who was in that cast? Because they had Matt Damon, they had Leo, they had
hold on,
Nicholson. Like they brought out a lot of big guns because this movie was. Who was the director?
And they all died. Leo, Matt Damon, Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, can't forget about him. Martin Sheen, Alec Baldwin, Anthony Anderson was in it, can't forget him. Kevin Corrigan.
This was a Tarantino film, right?
I think it was. But it's like, this movie is like, everybody fucking dies. Why? Why does everybody in this movie get killed?
Because that's how most mob lifestyles end. That is the only way you can say it.
No, it was a William Moorhan screenplay.
It played like a Tarantino film. That's why I thought that. Tarantino films do not stray away from dark source material in the slightest. There's like, this is what it is. Enjoy it.
He will kill a lot of folks off, but yeah, everybody dies in that movie. Number 9, I don't think a lot of people are going to know this. Had Brad Pitt in it. Came out in 2001. Snatch.
Mm-hmm. Very quietly underrated.
Very, very quietly one of his better performances where it's not, he doesn't have powers and it's like he's not the face. He's not the good guy. He is,
he's just a bad dude.
Gypsies running around killing folks. Basically, that's what I equated to. But Snacks. And this one, it snuck up on me. It was one of those movies throughout the day. I was at home bored on vacation. I didn't hear Brad Pitt's in this movie. And this was during his height. I had, okay. Yeah.
Like back when he was putting out movies like Troy pretty regularly.
Let me tell you something. This movie was so good, and it's very rare for me. I went and bought the DVD.
You had to add it to the collection because there's certain DVDs that have to go in.
Yeah,
I have a full shelf over there, and I have another shelf in there. That's a prestige shelf. Marvel gets his own movie shelf in here.
No, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 stacks high, 3 across, and then I got a movie stack on top. and they hold 25 DVDs apiece. So,
Movie buff, just a little
and
bit for
that
Grown
and
Geeks, just a
that's
little
that's
bit.
just the ones that I buy. If I buy you and I put you in that collection, you're a good movie. There's a lot of other movies that I'll rip, I buy online
Mm.
and I'll add them to my online collection. But if I physically buy the hard DVD, like Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, I don't care what nobody say. That is my all-time favorite movie. I will sit down and I will watch that movie for no fucking reason. When I found that movie on DVD, it was bought. It might have been $5, but it was $5 well spent. So
You occasionally find a gem in the $5 box. You're like, what is this doing in here?
yes,
You're like, this is
yes.
mine now.
I found Dune in there one time.
Why not?
Yeah, I was like, okay, fine. Oh yeah, come to the collection. Thank you.
What do you have at number
All right.
10?
No, I'm not at 10. Oh, yes, I am. 10. Damn, look at you.
I'm paying
Keeping me on
attention.
point. All right, number 10, Johnny Depp, Donnie Brasco.
Yeah, it has to go on the list somewhere.
That's a top 10 movie.
It's
Like I
just a
said,
slow burn at times. That's why it fell down so
but
far.
but the thing is, even though it's slow, you have to pay attention because it's one of the movies that if you don't just watch it, you miss the just hints that are on screen. It's not hints that they're saying like in a lot of Marvel movies, they say a lot of they give a lot of shout outs to what they
They give
say.
a lot of verbal cues. This one's like body language,
This
hand
one is body
gestures, is
language,
subtle implications.
shit in the background like Sixth Sense. If you didn't watch Sixth Sense, you missed a lot of the clues in that movie. If you just sat in the background and it was a background play movie, you missed 90% of the clues. So
Easily.
Donnie Brasco, you have to. It's one of those. Okay, okay. I got you now. All right. So and number 11. Now 11 through 14 are ones that I just had to mention that I've seen that I felt needed to be
At least,
included in a.
yeah.
They had to be mentioned. But my top 10 is pretty much that's solid. That's my solid top 10. So number 11, King of New York, came out in 1990. Um, number 12, Once Upon a Time in America,
Yep.
came out in 84. Older movie. So set your mind to 1984 movie and what they were like back then. A lot of them back then are better than movies now. So
I was gonna say 2 of my movies were before 1980. They were before 1975 even. So
yeah, mine like Godfather 74, Scarface 83, Godfather 72, and Once Upon a Time in
Goodfellas was
America 83,
1990. So I mean,
84. Yeah. And my number 13, no slight to anybody in this cast. It was another hop that just happened to show up for me to watch, and I watched it. Casino
oh yeah,
came out in
it
'95. It
doesn't
was
have the
just
same pizzazz that Goodfellas does, even though it carried over most of the cast.
if it was more of a Carlitos Way type movie,
It'd been
it
much
would have been
higher.
higher. But it was good for what it was.
It could have been like a top 7, top 8, but this was Joe Pesci's like second best performance. He carried that film, even though De Niro
Yeah,
was in it, which was
yeah,
weird because De Niro
and
normally carries the
right,
weight
and
of it.
that's like if you got De Niro and Pesci in one film, that's all the star power you really need.
Especially if it's a
They
mob, you just say those two, you're done.
and it would like the plot itself was great. I liked it. The acting was between those two, they're they're talking on screen, phenomenal. It was the other characters I felt were a little bit undefined.
Underdeveloped, yeah.
Yeah, didn't they were like, hey, you have a partner. Hey, here's another character. Fuck you come from?
It's like I only need so many integral characters, and everyone else is just a secondary character to that.
What
Where
they
I
should have
shouldn't
did
have
was
to care
went the
about.
party way and killed everybody.
Should have, should have.
Just kill everybody. And I'm gonna end it with a strong one. Well, it's strong to me. Came out in '93. A lot of '90s movie people, if y'all pay attention,
90s mob movies were the peak time
it
for
was
mob
the
movies.
peak for any of these type of movies. Notice we're saying mob movies and not gangster movies. There is a difference.
One is very much suit and tie. The other one is not as much suit and tie decorum.
Hint: The Godfather is a mob movie. Denzel Washington's American Gangster is a gangster movie. There is a difference.
Not a slight, but a difference.
Not a slight. Menace to Society. That's a gangster movie. That's not a mob movie.
Because I fuck with mob movies. I do not really
Boys
fuck
in the
with gangster
Hood.
movies.
Boys in the Hood. It's a gangster movie. It's not a mob movie. Doesn't fall in this category. But enough of that. My last one came out in '93. A Bronx Tale.
Mm-hmm. You hit
Yep.
literally all of my honorable mentions. Bronx Tale, Scarface, Casino, Once Upon a Time in America, Donnie Brasco. Those were the honorable mentions. They had to go on there.
Let me tell you something. If I didn't hit all of your honorable mentions, I wouldn't be doing my job as a movie buff.
No. I mean, I just couldn't believe I didn't put The Departed on there somewhere. I've only watched that movie once.
You got
I was just like, fuck, there's so many
You
people
gotta
died.
you gotta watch it more than once. You gotta watch The Departed like 3 times. Just because.
I need to find whatever streaming service it is and just watch it again just for replay value and shock value. I'm sure it's like a Netflix movie or it would be on an HBO Max maybe.
It would not. Netflix.
Yeah, I figured it was going to be on a Netflix, so I guess that would be my movie tonight. Just rewatch The Departed.
And for
just
all
like
you New Yorkers, if you watch The Departed, you'll get a whole new understanding for the Timberlands. just know that, my people.
I got a question for you as a movie buff, though.
What?
Pertaining to mob movies. This movie I haven't actually seen yet, and I'm just going to be very upfront about it. Irishman. Was that a good movie?
Oh.
Because it had De Niro in it, so I was like,
They had Harvey Keitel was in that one too.
Ooh, maybe. Might be another. Might just have a Netflix mob movie night.
Yes. If that's the one I'm thinking about, Pacino, De Niro, Pesci, Keitel. Yeah.
It'll release exclusively on Netflix.
Yes. What came out recently, right?
Very recent, like last year or
Yes.
the year before.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking about. Yes, that is definitely a watch.
Okay, but it
I
doesn't
couldn't put it on my list
because it's so new.
It's not that it's too new. It's just watch it. You'll see it. It will remind you of a couple more. I'm not gonna say it's gonna remind you of a couple more movies that I mentioned. It's like it takes a little bit from a lot and makes it one.
So they're taking a lot of original ideas.
Remember I told you about watching Masters of the Universe about certain things that you wouldn't like?
Yeah, they took out the main characters like off rip.
So with The Irishman, you'll see it's going to be a lot of similarities with.
So it's not an original film in its own sense, but it plays off a lot of original concepts.
Put it like this: it's all the actors that we love, just older, playing different roles. There.
Okay. So Joe Pesci's just pissed off at everybody. De Niro's a mastermind. Pacino's probably off his nut. I mean, there's just got a lot going on there. So
just know, I think you'll like Harvey Keitel better than everybody.
Okay, so Harvey Keitel will be my guy apparently. All right, that'll be what we have going on there. I thought our mob
and that is a Martin Scorsese film, if I'm right.
I believe it is Scorsese, which is why I was surprised it made it to Netflix and that wasn't like an HBO thing. But Netflix has a bigger budget, surprisingly. So,
and it's, it's about one person, right?
No, I'm assuming De Niro's the lead.
I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you say mob movie, it's either De Niro or Pacino in the lead, and Pacino is older than De Niro by a good bit.
Pacino plays Hoffa, I think.
Jimmy Hoffa?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so
I'm bad with names. It's just like I'm trying to.
We've done plenty of the anime list, so we've gone over that. But Grown Geeks, be sure to drop anything you thought we missed in the comments, anything you thought we got wrong, which I don't think we did.
Nothing.
To be honest, this was probably one of our more succinct lists. It's not going to be a top 5. We just wanted to go talk about mob movies. Sorry for those Grown Geek admins who did not make the call. Sent out an invite, didn't get much of a response. So we just went ahead with the usual 2. I know mob movies is one of my genres, so I knew if we were going to be doing a top 5, I would want to be on that panel. But everything else I didn't really think we needed. So
movies in general for me, except like chick flicks and
rom-coms. No,
I can't get in that. That's not my thing. I'm sorry.
I don't deal with those high school nitty-flitty garbage.
Musicals.
Nerd girl gets turned into hot chick type crap.
I don't like a lot of musicals, but it is one on Netflix where they're doing another like Freaky Friday. But it's a serial killer gets put into a teenage girl's body. I might want to watch that because it sounds just stupid enough for me to watch. Yes. Yeah. They switch body, a grown ass man and a high school girl, and he's a serial killer and she's like a cheerleader, and they swap bodies. that sounds like something I would like sit back and watch just because it's
Everybody's just gonna die. Just literally everybody. Which is why exactly
yes,
say Real House. But
yes.
I'll add The Departed and The Irishman to my watch list. We'll get going from there. Be sure to hit the like. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can get notified when we put out any new content. Be sure once this gets dropped on Anchor.fm on your audio-only streaming service, give it a listen. Help support the page. Keep us running. Keep us going strong, folks. Tony, do the usual.